Hello and welcome to the next session of our neurodiversity training. This segment focuses on understanding depression, a condition that can affect anyone, regardless of background or circumstances. It has been thoughtfully prepared by Maria Kamińska-Olczak, drawing on her personal experiences, studies in clinical psychology, and numerous insightful conversations. If you've seen the film Introduction to Neurodiversity, you may recall that 1 in 8 people worldwide experience a mental health disorder, and of these, 1/3 are diagnosed with depression. This condition is both common and serious. Without proper treatment, it can tragically lead to suicide. Over 700,000 people die by suicide each year, and for every suicide, there are about 20 suicide attempts. Listen to Maria's personal story. When she turned 15, she noticed something troubling. She started experiencing severe headaches, often accompanied by a strong sensitivity to light. No matter how much she slept, she constantly felt exhausted. Gradually, she lost her sense of joy and began to withdraw from others. Concerned, she visited a doctor. After a physical exam and routine blood tests came back normal, the doctor dismissed her symptoms, suggesting she was exaggerating or imagining them. Months passed. Maria went through several bottles of headache medication. Then, as spring arrived, her condition began to improve. Over time, she noticed a clear pattern. The darker seasons, particularly late fall and winter, consistently brought a return of her headaches and overwhelming fatigue. When Maria turned 30, she felt ready to start a family. She never imagined that the birth of her daughter would be so traumatic, or that the baby girl would survive only 3 weeks. Overwhelmed by a deep sense of hopelessness, Maria cried constantly. Her thoughts endlessly circled around the tragedy, searching for answers that no one could give. As time passed, exhaustion took over. She struggled to get out of bed, and even the smallest stimuli, light, sound, or movement felt unbearable. Maria barely moved, her state resembling catatonia, a state in which someone is stiff and not moving or reacting. Joy disappeared from her life, replaced by a profound emptiness and an absence of will to go on. Concerned for her well-being, a colleague urged her to see a doctor. Eventually, Maria was diagnosed with major depressive disorder. The DSM-5 Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, 5th edition, published by the American Psychiatric Association, provides formal diagnostic criteria for major depressive disorder, MDD. To be diagnosed with it, a person must experience 5 or more of the following symptoms during the same 2-week period: feeling sad, empty, or hopeless most of the day, nearly every day. Noticeably less interest or enjoyment in almost all activities. Significant weight loss or weight gain, or major changes in appetite. Sleeping too little, insomnia, or too much, hypersomnia, nearly every day. Physical restlessness or slowed movements and speech noticed by others. Fatigue or a constant lack of energy. Feelings of worthlessness or excessive guilt, often without clear reason. Trouble thinking clearly, focusing, or making decisions. Recurring thoughts of death, suicidal thoughts, plans, or attempts. These symptoms must cause significant distress or interfere with daily life, such as work, relationships, or personal functioning, and cannot be explained by substance use or another medical condition. Subtypes of major depressive disorder are, for example, postpartum depression and seasonal affective disorder. Postpartum depression occurs during pregnancy or within 4 weeks after childbirth. Clinically, symptoms may start anytime in the first year postpartum. Core features are the same as major depressive disorder, but often include difficulty bonding with the baby, feelings of being a bad mother, anxiety or intrusive thoughts, guilt or shame about not feeling happy after birth. Seasonal affective disorder occurs typically in fall or winter when there is less natural sunlight. Core features are the same as major depressive disorder, but often include increased sleep and appetite, craving for carbohydrates, weight gain, social withdrawal called also hibernation behavior. There are many other depressive disorders that are caused by genetic vulnerability, imbalances in brain chemicals, brain development issues, long-term stress, or trauma, alcohol and drugs and other diseases. To summarize, depression can have several causes: biological linked to genetics, brain chemistry, neurotransmitters, and coexisting medical conditions. Psychological, often triggered by repeated stressful life events and inadequate coping mechanisms. Social linked to loneliness, lack of support, or a sense of not fitting in. Depression is a deeply human condition. It can affect anyone, regardless of gender, age, or ethnicity. Still, certain groups may be more vulnerable than others. It is okay not to be okay. Depression is an illness that needs care and healing. The good news is that you can get better with psychological support and/or medical treatment. Also, there are people who can help you. Speaking of which, would you be able to recognize the signs of depression in someone and offer your support? In a moment, you will be asked to watch a YouTube clip. In search engine write the check-in on those around you. At times, it can be obvious when someone is struggling to cope. But sometimes the signs are harder to spot, so check in on those around you. What if someone talks to you about their mental health? There's no perfect way to respond when someone talks to you about depression. But there are simple things you can do to let them know that you care and want to help. Listen. Let them finish their sentences and complete thoughts without interrupting. After they have finished, you can respond. Let them know if you understand. If someone has just spilled their guts and you've gone through something similar, tell them. It helps a lot for someone to know they aren't alone. Make sure you don't switch the topic of conversation to your struggles, though. Avoid being judgmental. Don't tell them they are being weird or crazy. Don't cast a diagnosis. Encourage the person to seek professional help instead. Take them seriously. Try not to respond with statements that minimize how they are feeling or what they are going through, such as, "You're just having a bad week," or "I'm sure it's nothing." Make yourself available to talk again if needed. While it can be a big relief for someone to share something they have been keeping secret, mental health struggles usually aren't solved with one conversation. Let the person who has spoken with you know that they can reach out to you again. Don't turn what you've been told into gossip. If someone is talking to you about their mental health, it was probably tough for them to work up the nerve to say something in the first place. If you don't understand, do some research and learn about what you've been told. Make sure that your information is coming from reliable sources like government agencies and health organizations. If someone you know is in crisis and needs help urgently, seek professional advice. Dial emergency number of your country, for example 112 for Europe and 911 for North America. Saying nothing at all can be a gift. If you don't know what to say, don't say anything. Sometimes one of the best things you can do is just showing up and being. There are certain phrases that may seem harmless, but can actually be hurtful or dismissive to someone experiencing depression. Here's why they should be avoided and what you can say instead. Try not to say, "I know exactly how you feel." While well-intentioned, this phrase is rarely accurate. Each person's experience with depression is unique, and claiming to fully understand can make someone feel misunderstood or minimized. Saying, "I'm here for you," is much more supportive. Avoid saying that everyone gets depressed sometimes. This statement is inaccurate and diminishes the seriousness of clinical depression. Everyone may feel sad now and then, but that is not the same as living with depression. Instead, you can say, "I'm sorry you're going through this, It sounds really tough. Do not say that you have no reason to be depressed, because depression isn't always linked to life events. It can occur even when everything on the outside seems fine. Saying this implies that the pain isn't valid. A more supportive response would be, "I'm sorry that you are not feeling well." Don't be so negative. "Think happy thoughts" is another phrase to be avoided. This can sound like you're suggesting that depression is a choice, which it isn't. Depression affects thoughts, emotions, and physical energy and cannot be fixed by simple positivity. Similar situation is whether it's all in your head. Suggesting that depression is imagined is neither constructive nor accurate. Although depression can't be seen from the outside, it is a real medical condition and can't be thought or wished away. Get a grip. It will pass. Depression is not something people can turn on and off. While some mild episodes may resolve over time, many people need support and treatment to get better. Thank you for joining me in exploring this important and challenging topic. If you're interested in learning more, you'll find plenty of insightful books on the subject lining bookstore shelves. For those curious about the human brain and mind, I highly recommend the works of Martin E.P. Seligman, Oliver Sacks, and John S. Allen. Their books offer both scientific depth and human perspective. This material was prepared by Kamińska-Olczak. Thank you, and let's continue the journey together.